This video is brought to you by Greenland Gaming. Click the link below if you want to check out some amazing deals and some incredible games. Every purchase goes towards helping the channel. Killing Floor Free is pretty good now. Yeah, that's right. I genuinely believe that Killing Floor Free is worth playing now, especially if you've got a group of friends to play it with. You will have quite a few hours of good fun. And this is coming from someone who was like the #1 Killing Floor Free hater. I have made multiple videos talking about how disappointed I am with Killing Floor Free. But my original video on my main channel talking about it, did you see the title there? It said it was bad with potential. And that potential is finally being seen through by Tripwire, thankfully. They didn't actually give up on the game like I was kind of expecting them to, because this game's launch was an absolute disaster. I still remember the beta being god-awful to the point where they had to push it back, and even pushing it back, they just didn't fix it. It was still arse at launch. But now, it's pretty good. It's gone from like a 3 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. You know, it's still not quite as good as the other Killing Floor games, but it's getting there. And like I said, it's an absolute blast to play with friends. And you'll have a few hours of good fun playing through it, or you'll become hopelessly addicted like me and play the game on Hell on Earth difficulty and max out all the perks and all that good stuff that you do in Killing Floor games when you get addicted to them. Let's go through some of the stuff they've fixed, in case you are someone who played it originally and weren't a big fan of it. So, the perks. This was a big one for me. They tied the perks to certain characters, which means if you wanted to play as Mr. Foster, for example, you know, the most iconic gas mask wearing Brit, you had to play as the Commando. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the Commando perks, so I kind of brute forced my way playing through just so I could play as Mr. Foster. And that was awful. Tying perks to different characters, like there was no expression with the characters. You know, the whole point of the Killing Floor characters they were basically skins in a way. You know, it was a way for you to like customize your character to show who you were playing. I mean, I'm just stating how a skin works. You guys know how this shit works. And they really pushed a cosmetic store in this game, which made no sense for how the perk system worked. Because if I saw this cool cosmetic for Mr. Foster, for example, I wouldn't get it because I didn't want to play it as a fucking Commando. They've changed this now. You can literally play as any perk on any character, and it's just I'm not even gonna say props to them. This should have been a thing from the beginning. That is how every other Killing Floor game worked. I don't get what they were trying to do here, trying to make these characters like they were fucking in a hero shooter or some shit. It was stupid, and I'm glad they saw that because it was one of the first things they fixed. They've also brought back some characters from the previous games. They brought back DJ Scully, a very iconic character who I used to play as a lot in the first Killing Floor. They also brought back this old geezer who is voiced by one of the 2 original voice actors in Killing Floor 1. There were 2 voice actors in that game. Almost every character had the same British voice, and just hearing new lines from this guy, he's my go-to.
What's the bloody world come to?
They also brought back the Gunslinger perk from Killing Floor 2, which again, one of my favorite perks from that game, and it is an absolute blast to use in Killing Floor 3. They did slip up a little bit because you can't wield the guns by themselves. You have to dual wield them, so you can't just, you know, carry a Desert Eagle by itself, which is a bit of a shame, but it's something that they are planning on fixing pretty soon. These guys are listening, and I really appreciate the fact they are listening. Thank you, Tripwire. Also, on the little perk screen at the start in like the lobby area, there's one that hasn't been filled in yet, so there will probably be another perk returning. I hope it's not a returning perk, and I hope they think of something new, because a lot of the perks that haven't returned yet, apart from Demolitionist, are like SWAT and Survivalist. And SWAT is pretty cool, but Survivalist was just, it was such a cop-out perk. It was literally just, you can use every weapon under the sun. Have fun. I mean, there's probably some like meta shit that goes with it in Killing Floor 2 that I don't know about, but I don't care. I've got like 100 hours in Killing Floor 2, but I think I stopped playing after the Survivalist perk came out, because I remember back then I was like, this is kind of stupid. So yeah, I hope they think of something either brand new or bring back Demolitionist, because Demolitionist was an absolute blast to play as. Quite literally. Something from the launch of Killing Floor 3 that I can give props to, which they haven't changed all too much of is the weapon add-on, like the different mods you can equip on the weapons to basically create your own custom versions of the guns, adding your own skin, your own sights, laser sights, different magazines, literally anything. Or every single gun in the game is customizable, even the like weird high-tech guns that you get just before the boss fight at the end. Speaking of bosses, that is also another thing Killing Floor 3 had over the other Killing Floor games at launch. It launched with the most bosses, a whopping 3, which isn't saying much, but Killing Floor 2 launched with, I think, 1 boss. I think it was Dr. Hans Volter, and they added the Patriarch a bit later. Was it at launch? I don't quite remember, but Killing Floor 1 only had the Patriarch and nothing else. There were no extra bosses in Killing Floor 1. But I can excuse that in Killing Floor 1 because that was very much a budget title based off a mod. It's still the best one despite that, but you know, I can excuse it. Killing Floor 3 had 3. And since then they've added 2 more, the newest one being this weird Lovecraftian abomination called Moorcroft. And he's basically the stand-in for the Patriarch in Killing Floor 3, acting in a very similar way. He stands kind of back a bit, uses ranged weapons, sometimes going in for a melee attack, which is devastating, and if you lower his health enough, he runs away and tries healing himself, just like the good old Patriarch. I actually don't think there's a single boss in Killing Floor 3 that is bad to fight. And I really like as well that every single map in the game complements these fights. Hell, the maps as a whole, I don't think there's a single like map I don't enjoy playing on. Killing Floor 1 had quite a lot of bad like gimmicky maps that were just kind of not great. Again, a budget game. And Killing Floor 2 it was overall just pretty good maps. I mean, you did kind of get a bit weird at the end, that airship map with the robot and the fucking robot Zeds. Why did they add the robot? I hated the robots. Killing Floor 2 kind of just went a bit too much. That game is a bloated mess, I'm gonna be honest. And you know what? I kind of prefer Killing Floor 3 over Killing Floor 2 now. And that goes for the Zeds as well. The Zeds are really fun to fight in Killing Floor 3. The Skrakes and the Flesh Pounds, they're some of the best versions of them, with them having new gimmicks like the Skrake having a grapple where they can pull you towards them. And they can also break down walls and doors. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of environmental damage that can be dealt, and in some of the maps you can only access some rooms if a Skrake or Flesh Pound spawns behind them and breaks them down, adding a bit of variety as the match goes on through the map. It's good stuff. I really like it, and that was there at launch. I also quite like the takedowns, and every enemy has like a murder move on you, like it's Doom 2016. It's nice to see. And it's cool that they did that for the Stalkers when they brought them back. Again, that's something that should have been at launch, but their iteration of the Stalkers in this game are very cool. They're pretty terrifying, and their takedown animation is nasty. It's not nice. So yeah, if you've been on the fence about playing Killing Floor 3, I'd check it out. I think it's worth playing now. Best time to get it as well. The game flopped horribly, and you can get it for really cheap in a lot of places now, so, you know, now's the best time to grab a copy. I'll also be giving away 2 copies of the game on Steam on my Discord server, so, you know, if you've listened this far into the video, now you know. The first one will be going live as this video is public, so join the server and enter. And I'm really glad that Tripwire didn't just abandon this game. It's very clear that something was going on behind closed doors. Like, I don't think this was originally supposed to be a Killing Floor game. I think it was supposed to be a spin-off called Nightfall, which would have been a shooter, but I think it was just kind of spun into Killing Floor, because I remember at launch, the amount of missing things in it really tells me that this wasn't supposed to be Killing Floor. It was like basic shit that should have been in at launch, and obviously I'm not excusing him for that. This game had a horrific launch, but it's getting better and better with every new update. I hope you all enjoyed this video of me defending Killing Floor 3. It's another video in the In Defense Of series where I'm going to be defending games that people aren't really a huge fan of. And this is the second one. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope I've convinced some of you to check out Killing Floor 3 for yourself. Before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to Green Man Gaming. You can probably get Killing Floor 3 on here. You know, there'll be a link down below. It'll probably be on sale because Green Man Gaming do sales almost all the time, just randomly. And every purchase goes towards supporting me and helping the channel. But before I go, huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are the absolute best. I genuinely really appreciate the support. It helps me out so much. Same goes for the channel members. Thank you guys so much for your support. Again, helps me out so much. You guys are the absolute best. And before we finish up, I got a word for you all. Comment the word Scrake, and I will heart your comment and confuse everyone else who doesn't watch this far into the videos. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.